Okay, here we are back again, and I have Gail LaSalle with me. And Gail is, can I call you a motivational speaker?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's pretty much what I do.
Okay.
I like to think of myself as a motivational facilitator.
Okay. So you will go into a group like a nonprofit or something and work with them to help them improve image or to get them motivated?
Not image so much, but it's more motivation.
Yeah.
It's finding out.
Well, that in a sense takes care of their image.
Right. It's a lot of, for not-for-profits, I would work with teams.
Okay.
And see perhaps where some of the glitches are.
Okay.
My main goal, though, and my main focus is motivational speaking.
And I know that you seem to be interested in women and having women entrepreneurs, and you've done a lot with that, too.
I have done, but it's not limited to women.
Okay.
Though it does seem that women tend to be more interested in this type of personal leadership is really where my focus is when I talk about motivation. It's motivation to become the boss of yourself.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Thank you. To really take charge of who you are, what your choices are in life, and make those choices rather than sometimes being, the victim of chance.
Yeah, and chance is not always, chance can be good sometimes,
Sure.
Or if you take the opportunity that presents itself.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, I think you have to have a focus and have some skills in your back pocket.
There are some skills. The focus here is mostly being able to look at your life and seeing what your choices are. I'm sure, Anne, you've met people who, my late husband used to use the term, "I'm not my fault."
I love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's people who are victims of their circumstances.
Yeah.
And use that as an excuse for, oh, shoot,
Yeah.
life isn't where I want it to be.
Yeah. It's not my fault. It just didn't work out.
Right. And it's, the reality is things happen to us in life over which we don't have control. We lose a job. The gentleman you were just talking about. But he did make choices. He took control of his life. He had no choice about losing the job, but he had choices once he lost
about what to do.
Exactly. And he looked at those choices, did his homework, and then made a choice that worked for him.
I was going to say, what you just said is very important, because that choice that Will Harris made fit him and what his background is. You don't go out, he didn't decide to become a promoter of music when he knew nothing. I don't know whether he knows anything about music, but if he knew nothing about music, then you're certainly not going to go into a field you don't know anything about.
Exactly. And it's different. I don't help people make choices. I help people discover what their choices are.
Okay.
And when I'm speaking, I'm helping people recognize that you always have a choice.
Right.
Absolutely always. Bad things can happen to you.
Happens to good people.
Yep. And you're going to have a visceral reaction when it first happens. And there's a little history behind this. I've got the clinical background. I've got the educational background. I teach counseling. I teach human services courses. But I'm also pretty much a student of hard knocks.
Yeah.
And I've taken what I've learned and really applied it to my life, or maybe the other way around sometimes. I take my life and apply it to what I teach.
Well, but it gives you that little added background that you've been there, done that. You understand more what people have gone through over their life experience.
And I've had several, but the most profound for me was 9 years ago when the love of my life died in a car accident.
Unexpected?
And absolutely unexpected. I woke up one day in the morning with my life one way, and by that evening it was completely different.
Yeah.
My life changed in a moment. And I had that visceral reaction. I spent a while going, well, I won't say those words here.
Yeah, no, I know
but
what you're
being
saying.
Angry and being frustrated and feeling like the victim and why did this happen to me,
Yeah.
etc. But eventually, and I have to give one particular person, that's my daughter, a lot of credit. She sat me down one day and said, "Mom, my whole life you've taught me to make choices. And right now you're not making any, Mom. You're just plain miserable."
You were stagnating.
Yeah, I was miserable. I was angry at the world.
Yeah.
And she pointed something out to me that was very, very important. She said, the way I see it, you have two choices. You can be angry at the world for the rest of your life. You can be miserable and probably make the rest of us miserable too. Or you can take the gifts you got from that relationship and do something with them. And she was so right. It took me a little longer to percolate that and get it going in my head.
You had to have time to grieve, though.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
You must have that. Take that time.
Absolutely. And I don't care if it's losing a job or losing a partner.
Anything.
It's you have to have time to react.
To process
but
that.
you have to put a limit on that time and
Absolutely.
then start responding instead of
Because you're
reacting.
still alive and you have you've got to keep going.
And I got wonderful gifts from that relationship. I got confidence. I just had some fabulous gifts. That was a person who believed in me. And if I spent the rest of my life feeling sorry for myself, then I wasted that.
Yeah, I know. And it wouldn't do any good for your daughter or anybody
Oh, it wouldn't do
else
any
around
good.
you. Yeah.
But yet we know people who do that. They just get
Absolutely.
stuck and they won't move out. And so it doesn't matter if it's something that drastic or if it's the everyday choices we make. The downside of making choices is then you have to take responsibility for the outcomes.
Absolutely.
And it can be little choices. You know, if I decide to hit the snooze alarm 2 extra times in the morning and I'm running late, there's consequences to those
Absolutely.
choices, but they were my choices. Now I can
And you
learn,
have to live with those consequences.
right. Or I could learn from them, or I could get to work late and say, I'm not my fault, there was a truck in front of me.
Do you will you go out and give talks to people who would like to, for their groups? And
Oh,
things?
absolutely. That's what I
Okay.
really want to do. I really am to the point where I'm so passionate about this topic that I just want to give it away to everybody.
You've heard from Gail LaSalle. If you're interested in having her speak before your group, give her a call. I'm sure. Go to her website, check it out. Her website's very good, by the way. I checked it out. It's such a pleasure to have you on today, Gail. And,
Thank you,
good
Ann.
luck, and I'm glad that you're on the right track.
Thanks.
And making the rest of us get on the right track.
That's the goal here. Thank you.